Hello there. Are internal auditors just control checkers? Or are we transformational leaders hiding in plain sight? In this seminal book, The Agents of Change by Richard Chambers, our internal audit champion, the lighthouse of internal audit, the godfather of internal audit, he makes a very bold argument that internal auditors are uniquely positioned to shape the future of their organizations. Not by policing, not by creating atmosphere of fear and not by influence and all those things, but by actually being part of the change itself, leading the transformation in a disruptive age as we live in. Today, I'll share 6 powerful takeaways from this particular book and why they matter if you want to become a future proof internal auditor in this disruptive age where disruption is no longer an exception, it is the default setting now. Technology is accelerating, business models are evolving, risks are emerging faster than policies can keep up. In this environment, Agents of Change by Richard Chambers is more than just a book. It's a wake up call. It's a clarion call for internal auditors to rise beyond traditional boundaries, to stop seeing themselves as observers of change and start becoming leaders of change. Richard Chambers challenges us to rethink our identity. We are no longer compliance testers. We are no longer report writers. But we are becoming, or probably he is saying that we should become strategic influencers positioned at the heart of the GRC, governance, risk, and control and compliance, and so on, and ultimately transformation itself. So, the question which used to be, is disruption happening? Right? It's no longer going to be that question anymore. The real question now is that are we prepared as internal auditors to lead that transformation, that change which is happening around us? Here are the essentials for thriving in this era of disruption and becoming the kind of internal auditor who does just not survive but shapes what comes next. Most acknowledge and improve. One of the most refreshing messages in Agents of Change is that transformation begins with honesty. Honesty about where we fall short, where we are today, and what we want to become. As a profession, we have to be willing to ask, are we too focused on low risk audits? Are we spending time where it is comfortable, instead of being where it is critical? Are we ready to face those tough questions ahead of us? Are we communicating insights or just documenting findings? Recognizing our professional shortcomings is not a weakness anymore. Actually, it is leadership, because the moment we admit where we need to grow, we unlock the ability to evolve. But acknowledging, it's alone not enough. The real differentiator is commitment. The commitment to build new skills, the commitment to understand emerging risks, the commitment to elevate and evaluate how we communicate with boards and executives. That is how internal audit moves from just being adequate to indispensable. Growth becomes intentional, and future proof auditors don't just defend the status quo, they outgrow it. So, committing to improve what our shortcomings are and recognizing that is, of course, the first step, and moving on from there to improve is how we grow and add value not only to ourselves but also to our organizations. Next, we must embrace transformation. Change, as they say, is the only constant. In this book, Agents of Change by Richard Chambers, he makes it very clear internal audit cannot evolve just incrementally. What is required is revolutionary evolution, not small adjustments, not cosmetic updates to audit plans, not just adding cyber audit here, ESG audit review here, there, and all that stuff. He is talking about a mind shift, completely going against the grain, understanding where we are. The audit we used to do 10 years ago is not the same anymore, what we are in today's world. The world is full of disruptions. We know that artificial intelligence is lurking around. We know that people are already talking about it. People are already embracing it, adapting it. There is global volatility, geopolitical, many issues are going around the world. Rapid innovation cycles have come. We are no longer in yesterday's thinking. We have to move forward. We have to not be left behind in this whole environment, right? And transformation begins in the mind. Are we reactive or are we anticipatory? Are we control focused or are we insight driven? Most importantly, are we auditing the past or helping shape the future? The future proof auditor understands that the relevance requires reinvention, and that reinvention starts with us. The third essential is this: innovate auditing. In Agents of Change, Richard Chambers challenges us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Some of our processes, maybe all of our processes, are outdated. And if we cling on to them simply because that is how we've been doing it, Sally, same as last year, we risk becoming irrelevant. Innovation in internal audit does not mean abandoning discipline. It means rethinking how we deliver value. Do we really need those lengthy reports, pages and pages that hardly anybody reads? Are annual audit cycles still sufficient in this kind of risk environment which is changing every day, every minute? Can data analytics simply replace sampling in certain cases? How can we use AI to enhance our assurance instead of feeling threatened by it? These are questions we should ask ourselves. Radical thinking, doesn't mean that we are recklessly thinking. It means that we are courageous. We are reimagining our own audits. We are redesigning our audit methodologies. We are leveraging technology intelligently, communicating insights visually and succinctly, embedding agility into our planning process. Our internal audit function itself must transform before it must can transform the organization. They say change comes from within, right? So that is how we start. And future proof auditors, we don't need to sit and protect legacy or old processes. We rather should reinvent those. This goes without saying. This is not just an essential, this is mandatory. Leveraging technology. And not in the most obvious way. Alright. In Agents of Change, Richard Chambers makes it very clear that technology is not just a support tool for internal audit. It is the engine of the whole audit itself. We must use technology to enhance our mission. Data analytics, continuous auditing, automation, AI assisted risk analysis. These are tools that are going to make us faster, higher, stronger, and sharper. And most importantly, forward looking. Technology is not only one of the greatest sources of organization risk. If we embrace it in the right way and we understand it, we can provide meaningful assurance to the organization. Future proof auditors don't just use technology, they audit using technology and audit the technology itself. They evaluate the governance, they anticipate its unintended consequences, and most importantly, they translate technical risk into strategic insight that the board can understand. Technology in today's world is not optional anymore. It is the central linchpin for the relevance of the audit function itself. Number 5, expanding skill sets. It seems very obvious, right? Having said that, in Agents of Change, Richard Chambers reminds us that technical knowledge alone cannot guarantee impact. Future proof auditors go beyond controls and compliance. We need to sharpen our communication skills so that our insights are heard, understood, and acted upon. We need to cultivate innovation and creative thinking. In our educational system, at least some parts of the world, we are still in the rote mechanism of learning where we mug up and vomit. We need to cultivate that system where we teach our children, our newbies, the greenhorns, about innovation and cultural thinking and creative thinking so that we can reimagine our audit approach and challenge the status quo. We are doing whatever we were doing last year, just copy paste and move on to the next, right? That is how we've been embracing this. But now is the time to embrace proactive thinking, anticipating risks before they can materialize rather than just reacting after the fact. All of this is about staying ahead of the curve and not just keeping track of what's going on. It is about becoming advisors who add strategic value to the organization. Remember, organizations don't need auditors who just tick boxes. They need auditors who open doors to insight, foresight, and of course, transformation. Last but not the least, be the catalyst for change. In Agents of Change, Richard Chambers makes a bold statement that independence and objectivity, which are often seen as limitations of the audit function, in fact are our greatest tools for transformation. They give us that credibility to challenge assumptions, question decisions, and highlight opportunities for improvement without fear or favor. Internal auditors are uniquely positioned to act as change agents. We can shine a light on blind spots. We can encourage better risk decisions. We can help the organizations not just survive disruption but thrive through it. The message is loud and clear, dear auditors. The future proof internal auditors don't just audit the status quo, they influence it, they shape it, they drive it. Our independence is not a barrier anymore, or the way you think it. This is our license. James Bond has the license to kill. Many movies have the license to thrill. Our license is to lead. Our license is to make that transformation possible. So, dear auditors, are you with me on this? Say yes. Repeat after me. Say yes. We are the catalyst for change. We are the change agents. As internal auditors, we hold a unique vantage point, a 360-degree view of the risks and opportunities facing our organizations and everything that we are is ahead of us. That perspective is powerful. Too often we focus only on the risks. But what if we shifted our lens? What if we used our insight to illuminate opportunities, influence smarter decisions, and drive meaningful positive change? Dear auditors, this is our moment. We are not just auditors of compliance or checklist. We are advisors, innovators, and yes, to quote Richard Chambers, agents of change. It is time to step up, embrace that responsibility, and lead transformation from the front. Let us be the agents of change that our organizations truly need. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this video useful, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us reach more auditors who want to lead transformation just like you are. And I also highly recommend reading Agents of Change by Richard Chambers. If there was ever a chance that you could knight an auditor, he is the first auditor we would knight, Sir Richard Chambers. It is a game changer for anyone serious about future proofing their internal audit career. A huge thank you to Richard Chambers for inspiring internal auditors around the world. and making a step up as agents of change. And if you would like to explore more auditing insights, feel free to connect with me. I am on LinkedIn, I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, YouTube. Anywhere you go, I'm there. Do like, share, and subscribe. Remember, the future proof internal audit doesn't wait for change, they lead it along with us. We are the beacons of internal audit. I am one of the proud beacons, and I feel this is a huge responsibility on our shoulders to take our profession to the next step, to the next level, and to embrace the world as we see it with all our open arms and become that agent of change. Thank you once again. Happy auditing. See you in the next video.